Tonight on SportsDesk, big rivalry week here in Coral Gables as Canes football is set to take on FSU at Hard Rock tomorrow night. We'll preview the game and what Coach Manny Diaz and quarterback De'Aaron King think the team will have to do to win.
Plus, Canes football had a big win last weekend over 18th-ranked Louisville. Our In the Trenches crew will break down their win and what the Canes will need to do to get their 4th consecutive win against the Noles.
And later on, we talk to UM Spirit Squad Category 5 to see how they're hyping up students for games on campus.
All that and more, SportsDesk starts
right now.
I'm Ed Reed, and you're watching SportsDesk.
Hi, I'm Jim Kelly, former UM guy. You're watching SportsDesk.
What's up? I'm DJ Williams. Y'all watching SportsDesk.
Hello and welcome to SportsDesk. I'm Brendan Riley.
And I'm Tommy Sullivan. Brendan, lots of excitement in the air this week for the game tomorrow night.
Yeah, Tommy, campus seems a lot quieter these past few weeks, but there's still that energy for the FSU game this weekend.
Plus, Brendan, it's hard to be in the dumps when ESPN's College Game Day crew is coming to South Florida for the game.
Absolutely, Tommy. Let's take a look at the highlights from the Canes' first game day appearance of the season against Louisville. Canes in the cards, 17 versus 18. We go to the first quarter. Canes down 3-0. De'Aaron King finds his tight end, Will Mallory. That's 7. The Canes would take the lead and would not look back from there. Later on in the first, a screenplay to Brevin Jordan, who goes flying over the defender, reaches for the pylon, but they called him just short. That drive would be finished off with another touchdown. That one to Jalen Knighton. 20-6 at the half. Second half now. Cameron Harris gets the handoff, bouncing to the outside, and watch him run. Outrunning the whole defense. Now has one man to beat as he leaps for the end zone, and he's there for 6. Canes will take a 26-13 lead, and now next drive, one play. Jalen Knighton, no one in the same zip code as him, as he's going to take this one to the house. 75-yard touchdown as the Canes extend their lead. And then later on in the fourth quarter, King firing down the field. Brevin Jordan, no one in sight. He brings that one in as the Canes would win this one 47-34 as they improve to 2-0.
This week, the Miami defense forced 3 turnovers, which means, that's right, the return of the turnover chain. Al Blades Jr. became the first Cane to debut this year's edition of the chain after his interception. The chain, which features a signature U covering the state of Florida, has 4,000 sapphires and is attached to a 10-carat chain.
After a big night from De'Aaron King last Saturday, he's put himself back in the national spotlight. The quarterback won 5 awards this week, including ACC Quarterback of the Week, the Maxwell Award Player of the Week, and the Manning Award Star of the Week. His play in the first 2 games of the season has even put him in the Heisman watch with the likes of Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields.
And 2 others were also recognized alongside King. Defensive back Bubba Bolden and kicker Jose Borregales were all selected as ACC Players of the Week for their respective positions. All 3 players will look to continue their success in tomorrow's primetime matchup.
After all the hype coming off last week's win against Louisville, the Canes now turn their attention to the rivals from up north, Florida State. How are the Canes feeling heading into their biggest game of the year? I took an in-depth look at how the Canes are getting ready to take on the Seminoles.
Coming off a victory over the Louisville Cardinals, the Miami Hurricanes turned their attention to another primetime matchup. This time, their rivals, the Florida State Seminoles.
It's great to have, an offense off to a good start, but it's got to continue on Saturday.
While the Canes' offense was clicking against Louisville, quarterback De'Aaron King knows there's still much to be desired in the air and on the ground.
We had a lot of stuff we can get better at, but as far as the passing game, I think we made strides in the passing game. We made some plays downfield, so that was good, but it's still a lot we got to get better at.
King, safety Bubba Bolden, and kicker Jose Borregales were all named to the ACC Team of the Week, but Bolden feels that he has more in the tank after an 11-tackle game.
On paper, it looks good. Yeah, I played hard, I played fast, but when it comes down to our scheme of things and, some of my assignments, I could have did a lot better on.
Despite FSU's Week 1 loss against Georgia Tech, the Seminoles are better than what the film showed.
I know they're going to be ready. I know we're going to be ready. It's still the biggest game, one of the biggest games of the year for us every single year. So we get the schedule, everybody looks for the Florida State game.
When UM and FSU meet face-to-face, it's a game of inches. 1 inch wide right could make the difference for Miami.
At the end of the day,
I'm trying to be a professional, so I gotta stay calm, collected. Like I can hit that ball before, and I have in practice all the time, so shouldn't be any different in the game.
Saturday night, 60 minutes of strapping up the helmets, seeing who owns the state of Florida. But with a win and the national spotlight on Miami, do we dare ask the question, is the U back?
Tomorrow night, we'll see what the Canes have in store against their arch rivals as another chapter will be written in one of the greatest rivalries in college football. And the Hurricanes earned their number 12 ranking with a commanding win. Now they look to continue moving up the polls in primetime. Our In the Trenches crew has more. Guys?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to In the Trenches. I'm Karen McDonald here with Josh White. Josh, what a game last Saturday. Miami blazing over Louisville, 47-34. What did you see that went really well that's making them so dominant this year?
Well, Caroline, the big question mark coming in this season was the offense, and that's been the storyline the first two games, and the offense was exactly as advertised. They were spectacular, and it started with D'Eriq King for the Hurricanes, getting Miami their first top 20 victory on the road in more than a decade. But D'Eriq King, 3 touchdowns, more than 300 yards passing the football. He was superb, and he's built this great connection with Brevin Jordan. That's been the go-to guy for the Hurricanes the first two games. A potential first-round pick this year, had 7 catches, 120 yards and a TD. But they're also getting it done on the ground. Cam Harris filling in for DJ Dallas after he took the step to the NFL. Another 100-yard rushing game for him. So they got the three-headed monster of King, Jordan, and Harris, and they seem almost unstoppable right now.
So you mentioned some breakout moments, but what are those explosive plays that are standing out to you that you see the Canes eventually building on throughout the season?
Well, that's the big thing with Rhett Lashley's offense is can you score and can you score quickly? So let's look at 2 plays from last week against Louisville where the Hurricanes did just that. They scored and they scored quickly. Here, early moments of the third quarter. We're going to pause it right here. Again, this seems like almost every play the Hurricanes are going with an RPO, but it freezes the defense. The defense has to respect King. They have to respect the tailback Harris. They pick King. They look to the right where the motion was, and it's Harris who rolls to the right side. He's got all this green grass to run on, and no one's catching him. With his speed, he's gone to the races. An easy 6 points, 7 after the extra point for the Hurricanes. Then let's look at a different running back in the game, the three-headed monster they have in the backfield with Knighton and Chaney, the 2 freshmen. And this is Knighton just kind of slipping out as the defense again. All eyes are on D'Eriq King. They lose the freshman Knighton, and look, here he is. Nobody's near him. Nobody's even in the photo, Caroline. Look, nobody's here. So another easy touchdown. Great schematic play call by Rhett Lashley. An easy point for the Hurricanes. The one downside, the defense has to get back out there, but they'll be happy to go back out there after 7 points are on the board.
So now another big game this Saturday. College game day is coming to Miami this time. How do you see the Canes matching up with FSU this weekend?
It's Miami and Florida State. As good as it gets. The Seminoles have struggled. The Hurricanes have played pretty well this season, but you know the game's going to be close. When it comes to the Hurricanes and the Noles, it's going to be a close game. 32 of the 64 times they've met, it's been within 8 points or less, but it's a different Florida State team. It's led by James Blackman under center. He kind of got booted from that spot last year with Alex Hornibrook in. It's Blackman again. Marion Terry on the outside is their one threat. They lose Cam Akers to the NFL, so the offense has struggled for Florida State. They barely put up points against Georgia Tech. It's the defense is the story for the Noles. Can the Hurricanes put enough points to get past Florida State? I think they're going to do it. I'm going to take Miami 27-17 over Florida State, and the Hurricanes start 3-0.
Thank you so much, Josh. The rivalry all goes down this weekend. That's all the time we have from the trenches. Back to you guys.
From wide right kicks to Langham last-second catches, Miami FSU games are unlike any other. Despite a limited capacity, Hard Rock Stadium will be tense as these in-state rivals fight for the state of Florida. Reporter Lauren Yellner gives us a glimpse at the history of the iconic feud, plus what's in store on Saturday.
University of Miami football is in full swing as they prepare to face Florida State this weekend. And while the season may look a little bit different, the over 50-year rivalry is as strong as ever.
Miami and Florida State is as much about changing the momentum in the crowd and the crowd reaction and you know all that as is any rivalry game. So it'll be really pronounced how different the atmosphere is.
A week usually filled with pep rallies and team spirit has been much quieter this year due to COVID-19 restrictions, both in Miami as well as Tallahassee.
If we were in a normal environment, there would be a buzz up here too. And it doesn't feel like Florida State and Miami week at all. Usually there's a real energy, even if you're the away team. But there's not that energy around the community.
Hard Rock Stadium will also be much quieter for the Canes and will only allow 13,000 fans, none of which will be undergraduate students from the U.
I am somewhat upset that We don't get to be kind of like part of like the rivalry weekend. 2 years ago, I was here to visit the school. I went to the FSU game at Hard Rock, and Miami won, and it was like an electric environment. It's hard to put school spirit on us when we're not part of the school in a way.
Despite the limited number of fans that will be able to attend the game this year, Coach Manny Diaz is encouraging fans to safely come out and support the Hurricanes.
The fans that go, we need them, and however many they let in, or people can sneak in, or however they get in, however they get there, as long as they stay distant, wear a mask, make all the noise they can, I think it'll benefit our team.
While this isn't the rivalry week anyone anticipated, fans of both Miami and Florida State are ready to see the rivalry in full force this Saturday night, even if it's from their homes. For UMTV, I'm Lauren Yellner.
On SportsDesk, Canes cheer has had to adapt to the pandemic just like any other team. Our reporter Tyler Walsh caught up with the team to learn more after the break.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
University of Miami students have been unable to attend any athletic events so far this year. I had the chance to talk with the one student organization keeping Canes students connected to their favorite teams. University of Miami athletics are now underway, but because of COVID-19, stadiums are much quieter than they normally would be. Following the university's announcement to currently not allow students to attend sporting events, the Category 5 student organization knew they would have to adapt.
Category 5 acts as liaisons between the athletics department and student government, so we bring student concerns to athletics and vice versa.
Category 5 also helps to enhance students' game day experience, and with students unable to attend the first 2 games, they devised a way to bring the game day experience back to the students.
September 10th, we had our first event. It was a pre-game tailgate kind of thing. We wanted to encourage students to have the opportunity to sit around and hang out, really get to connect with other students and experience. The band played and everything.
Planning events this big during a pandemic is no easy task.
We didn't know that we were doing a pregame event until like a few days before. Like we were planning for a watch party. So we had to switch it up again and plan for a pregame event because of curfew.
Students able to attend the kickoff event were grateful for the experience.
I love that we were able to bring the UMiami community together to celebrate the kickoff of the football season. You know, I was surrounded by a lot of Canes spirit, which was obviously something to look forward to, especially because we've been away from campus for so long.
Even though it isn't the game day experience most anticipate, Category 5 is just happy students have the ability to enjoy it.
You really do feel that sense of family, and I love that about UM. So it's like if I could give that back to students in any way, whether it be freshmen because they don't know that experience, or the seniors because this is their last year of having that experience, that's amazing.
Category 5 will be keeping the Canes spirit going with 2 events this weekend for Miami's matchup against Florida State. Category 5 plans to have both a pregame and a watch party tomorrow on the IM fields. They will have food, games, and free rivalry-themed giveaways for students.
Canes football is receiving hype that the team hasn't had since their ACC championship appearance in 2017. This has people wondering, is Miami truly back? And Brick Isles weighs his thoughts on Miami's road ahead.
Is the U back? That seems to be the question that arises every season, but the Canes will have the opportunity to answer this question. In 2 weeks, they will be headed to Death Valley to take on the #1 Clemson Tigers in what will be their biggest test of the season. But fans are going to have to wait for this matchup as Miami will take on bitter rival Florida State tomorrow night. While a win against the Seminoles always feels great, beating FSU this year is nothing to hang your hat on. The Seminoles are unranked, will be missing their head coach, and are almost a 10-point underdog in this matchup. So the real test is going to come against Heisman favorite Trevor Lawrence and the Tigers. The last time Miami played Clemson, they were absolutely demolished in the 2017 ACC Championship, 38-3. And if the U is going to be back, then this year is going to have to be much different. While putting on an offensive clinic on the road versus number 18 Louisville is nice, pulling out a win or a close game to the Clemson is going to truly show us where this program is at. If Miami wins, they will shock the college football world and let fans know that they are ready to compete for the national championship right now. If Miami loses a close game, then it will show us that the Canes are on their way back, but still have some work to do. However, if 2017 repeats itself, then Manny Diaz and company will have to go back to the drawing board. Regardless of the outcome, this game will serve as a barometer for Canes fans and coaches that will give us a realistic snapshot of what is going right and wrong here in Coral Gables. And that's Embrick's Eye.
Tomorrow night, there will be another Canes football game without their cheerleaders rooting them on. Our reporter Tyler Walsh caught up with cheer captain Kennedy Stewart to get her take on the season.
From social distancing to wearing face masks, the University of Miami is taking all the precautions necessary to slow the spread of COVID-19. But for senior and co-ed cheerleading captain Kennedy Stewart, some of the regulations have turned her smile on the field to a frown on the IM fields.
The Knight Sports Complex is like home to us, so like transitioning to the IM fields was kind of like different and just like out there.
Earlier this month, President Julio Frank announced that students would not be allowed at the first 2 home games. The cheer squad, unfortunately, was no exception.
It's a little devastating just because like just football in general, like there's nothing like cheering at Hard Rock, like nothing like being on the sideline, like the energy in that stadium is insane. Like it's just so fun and like I could literally like I'm getting like chills thinking about it.
Co-ed cheer coach Daniel Chapman feels for all of his cheerleaders, but says compared to other colleges and universities, the University of Miami is lucky.
We're fortunate that we're, 1, allowed to be on campus, and 2, able to practice in person at this point. So, it's all about finding the silver lining.
Much like Coach Chapman, Stewart is confident that the team will be able to make the most of the season.
I definitely don't take it for granted just because like you got to make the best with what you got. So like I'm not complaining. I'm kind of just like how I said, like taking it day by day and just enjoying the last season I have with my friends before we kind of graduate and like go off on our own.
Reporting for UMTV, I'm Tyler Walsh.
Up next on SportsDesk, some athletes are back on the hardwood after some exciting engagements during the quarantine. Our reporter Max Trink catches up with Madison Dill of Canes Volleyball up next. And now it's time for some trivia. Canes football plays Saturday night against FSU as they look to secure their 4th straight win against their in-state rival. When was the last time UM won their 4th straight matchup against FSU? Is it A, 2013, B, 2007, C, 2004, or D, 1991? The answer, when we return.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Guys got any big plans for FSU weekend?
I think I may head over to the Category 5 watch party. Think that could be fun?
I think that might be pretty fun. I think I might be heading over there as well.
Okay, I think so too.
Oh! Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I've just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Welcome back. If you guessed C, you are correct. Back in 2004, the Canes defeated the Seminoles for the 4th straight time. Within those 4 years, the Canes, they also won a national title.
Volleyball had a nail-biter last night as they upset Georgia Tech in 5 sets. Outside hitter Elisa Vetsa Lukianova guided the squad to victory, with her team leading 23 kills in the match. No fans were allowed to attend the match. The Hurricanes outscored the Yellow Jackets by 12 last night, winning the first set by 8 points. Miami had 10 blocks across the game, with outside hitter Angela Grieve making her Canes debut with 5 blocks. The volleyball team has now won its last 4 ACC openers dating back to 2017.
Canes volleyball is back in action right now at the Knight Center as they face Georgia Tech once again. Our reporter Michelle Ingreas is live from outside the Knight Sports Complex. Michelle, how are the Canes playing tonight after such a long battle last night?
Hey Brendan, we're live right now outside of the Knight Sports Complex where the Canes volleyball is currently facing the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. There's a lot of excitement in the air as the Canes are coming off their season opener win last night against the Yellow Jackets. Unfortunately, fans are not allowed into the game tonight, but you can hear some cheers from outside of the center right here. Right now we're in the end of the second set and the Canes are up 1-0, excuse me. If you would like to watch the game live, you can see it on ACC Network Extra, or you can tune in to WDUM. Reporting live from UMTV, I'm Michelle Ingreas, sending it back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Michelle. Canes volleyball middle blocker Madison Dill is playing in the game tonight. And earlier this week, our reporter Maxwell Trink discussed some exciting news for the redshirt senior in this edition of Trink Talks.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into this week's edition of Trink Talks. I'm your host, Maxwell Trink, being joined by redshirt senior for the UM volleyball team, Madison Dill. Maddie, how are you today?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, quarantine has affected so much everybody's life, and not only has it affected you as a volleyball player, but also as a mother. How was that experience for you?
Yeah, when I came back to college, I knew that I was going to have to be away from my son. When quarantine happened, I was able to go home for 4 months. So it was honestly a little bit of a blessing for me and my family. Obviously, it's not a good thing to have a global pandemic, but I got some unexpected months with him that, when he was growing and developing, and it was really nice to be able to be home with him for those months that I wasn't expecting to.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm really glad there was some good out of that for you, and your son's so adorable. I can tell you that much. I see his pictures sometimes. Yeah. When it comes to also quarantine, another positive for you was I heard that you got engaged. Congratulations. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how that happened?
Yes, I did get engaged. I'm engaged to Casey McDermott. He was a football player here. He's now with the Jags. We did a little mini family staycation kind of. We went to a lake house and it was great scenery, and he just knew the timing and that he wanted to do it then. So yeah, that's how it happened. We were just on family vacation and everything was perfect. It was awesome.
Maddie, thank you so much for joining me this week. I really appreciate it. That's it for Trink Talks. I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
From Canes volleyball's trailblazing opening win, a star performance in the NBA, and some great rivalry week banter, Miami's social media was buzzing this week. Daryl Barnes has the update on this week's edition of Behind the Post.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Daryl Barnes, and welcome to this week's edition of Behind the Post, where we cover all things Canes happening on social media. After serving up a win in their season opener last night, Canes volleyball tweeted out, "That's a Canes dub, let's go, baby!" The Canes were also debuting their new threads, some of which featured social justice statements such as Black Lives Matter in the place of their names. Keeping things on the hardwood, Canes basketball has a bright young star in Coral Gables, and they went to social media to let fans know they like the sound of this one. That was the team's response on Twitter to Earl Timberlake being named as one of the top 25 impact freshmen for the upcoming 2021 season. And finally, it's a huge week for Canes football. Aside from maybe Tyler Hero, whose monster performance had even UM Athletics calling him, quote, the hero, nothing filled up Miami sports fans' feeds more than the hashtag BeatFSU posts. Just yesterday, Sebastian Ibis posted this with the caption, don't mind me, just making some sand angels, but it doesn't take a detective to see the jab at the Seminoles. Category 5 also jumped in on the fun, posting this photo saying, breaking news, FSU still sucks. The Canes football Twitter reminded everyone that ESPN's College Game Day is, quote, heading back to Miami to catch all the inevitable rivalry game beef. So make sure to tune in tomorrow at 9 a.m. Anyways, that's about all the time we have for Beyond the Post this week. I'll see y'all next time. But for now, back to you guys.
Still ahead on SportsDesk. The College Game Day crew is ready to go, but this isn't the first time the show has made its way to South Florida. We take a look at some of the highlights from all of the past shows in Miami.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
Love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
For this week's Play of the Day, we take you out to the NBA bubble where the Los Angeles Lakers took on the Denver Nuggets in Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals. Denver down by just 8 with over 2.5 remaining in the second, and Jamal Murray goes up and under and into the basket. Let's take another look at this one. Jamal Murray up and underneath LeBron James. What a play by him, showing shades of Jordan. Let's take a third look at this one. Up and underneath. What a play by the young point guard. Murray would end up finishing the game with 32 points, but the Lakers would win the game by a score of 114 to 108.
For the 23rd time in the second straight week, Miami is going to be featured on College Game Day. The crew is down here in South Florida, but due to COVID-19, the show won't be on campus, but rather up at Hard Rock. Their first time was against the Noles at the Orange Bowl back in 1994, a 34-20 win over the Seminoles. And then you see there, Coach Lee Corso saying, "Give me that Abba's head." And then we fast forward a little further to 2004 at Carter Finley on the road. Corso went with the Wolfpack, but Kirk Herbstreit there waving the Hurricanes flags. And who can forget what happened in 2017? Notre Dame in town right in the middle of campus. And of course, last week, you have Lee Corso throwing it on for the Louisville game at his house. And then tomorrow, Saturday, 9 a.m., it will be College Game Day from Hard Rock. So, wow, I mean, it's finally here. The time's finally here. FSU tomorrow. Just wish that game day was here on campus and not up at Hard Rock.
Yeah, you know, it's a little bit different this year, but just good for the Canes. Second week in a row, the Canes going to be on College Game Day, so it's good for them.
You know, one way that they might have been able to actually have game day here, build a stage, put it in the middle of the lake.
Not a bad idea. And that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you for joining us.
We'll be back next Friday with another episode of SportsDesk. Until then, have a great night.